Hey YouTube, this is Johnny. Welcome back to my channel. What I have for you today is a small rant. Everyone gets one rant on YouTube. I know that some guys have abused that, but I have one rant, and so I'm going to try and use it wisely. And it's in reference to my Smith Wesson M&P 9C. Now, I posted a video on a fix that I did on the 9C concerning the takedown lever, and I did the fix because I really wanted the weapon to work right. Out of the box, it worked flawlessly, took it to the range. Personally, I did not like the trigger on it. The brake on it is better than the Glock, but the actual reset, once you get used to the reset on the Glock is second to none, and everybody knows that. But I could have lived with the trigger because it comes with practice, and I wasn't used to that trigger. But I know that with time, if I can shoot a 1911, if I can shoot my SIG P226, I have various weapons. If I can get used to those, I could get used to the M&P. But in the back of my mind, I still had a problem with the takedown lever. Still thinking, why a weapon out of the box, the takedown lever works perfectly. In order to take that weapon apart, we have a cleared weapon here, and I want to use this as a sample example. What you'd have to do is you take the takedown lever, you bring the takedown lever down, and it would actuate, it would stay in the down position, and then you would release the slide. And then what you could do, just like the Glock, if you chose to, if you didn't choose to use the tool that came on the bottom of the weapon, you could choose to then go ahead and pull the trigger, and when you pull the trigger, it would slide right off. Well, the first week or week and a half, it worked flawlessly. I had no problems with it, and after doing a cleaning, taking it to the range a couple of times, then the takedown lever started doing what it does for everybody else. It started popping right back up. You'd actuate it, and then it by itself, it'd pop right back up. Then it got to where if I held it down and then actuated it, then it would stay in its position. As long as I had held it down previously and pulled it down, then I could go ahead and disassemble the weapon without any problem. So I had a problem with that. So I started looking through the forums, and it took me maybe 2.5 hours digging through the forums to find an individual who said, take the takedown lever out, inspect it. You'll see that it has a burr somewhere in the middle of it. Don't know how the burr was created. I put a file to it, he said, and it's working fine for me. Well, I did it, and guess what? It started working fine. It started working fine on the disassemble, but on the reassemble, it would keep getting stuck. At some point or another, the guide rod and the spring, which that takedown lever is not spring actuated. It doesn't have a spring attached to it or anything. It's free floating, and the guide rod serves as placing some tension on it and giving you the impression that it is spring loaded, but it's not. And after putting it back, guess what? It worked the way he said, but still on the reassembly, I still had that issue there. So what's my rant? My rant is that I'm expecting for a weapon to work out of the box. If it doesn't work out of the box, then I'm going to send it back to the manufacturer, give the manufacturer an opportunity to go ahead and fix it. But guess what? There are tons of guys who have had this same rant with Smith & Wesson over that same lever, only to have a weapon exchanged to them, and then it still do the same thing. Gunsmoke Guy is a great example of that, and I hope that he doesn't mind me using his name for this because, the video is public. But in my mind, this is what I thought. I paid this money for this weapon. Why should I keep sending it back and forth, if I know that the guys who have done that before previously have had the same issue? I've lost my trust or confidence in the weapon to operate the way it needed to. I didn't go out to the range. I said, why should I go out to the range and then take a risk of, after I filed or I did what I did for that part, that, it was already in my mind that I wanted to get rid of the weapon. My life depends on it. I want the weapon to work right out of the box. I had a problem with the TRP. I got a video on that. I sent it out to Springfield in 6 days. From the day I sent it to the day I got it back, it was 6 exact days. And when I got the weapon back, I put 300 rounds down range, and it's worked flawlessly, no problems. That's what I expect from a company that stands behind its products. As a matter of fact, there's a guy that posted on one of my videos where he bought the same weapon, doing exactly the same thing with the TRP. And this is what I taught. This is what I would tell him. I would tell him, send it back to them the same way they took care of me. They'll take care of you because they stand behind their products. I'm not saying that Smith & Wesson does not stand behind their product, but it's obvious that with the M&P 9C there is an issue that Smith & Wesson is not addressing, okay? And there's no reason for weapon. That is that is a good weapon and could be a great weapon. It's not a great weapon because I think that if it does not work out of the box, and I don't think that it's built into the design for you to have to hold the thing in place with a hand and then have to use both hands and still hold that lever there to take it apart and put it back together. And for those, who have found ways, workarounds to get the slide off and slide on, God bless you. If that's your thing, that's great. I'm expecting that if I get a weapon and I pull the lever down and it works out of the box, it should stay like that and work like that for the duration of the weapon. If it does not, then I believe there's a malfunction. There's something wrong with that weapon, and the manufacturer should take care of it. So I moved on to a Glock 23. I carry a Glock 27. The reason why I bought the M&P was, number one, because of the grip. It was thin. It conceals much better than the baby Glock because it's thin here. Don't let the slide fool you where the Glock looks thicker. It's only 2/1000ths of an inch smaller than the Glock. That's just about nothing, okay? And so the M&P gives the impression that it's slimmer, but it's not. But I really wanted it. I carried it, and as I carried it, I said to myself, you know what? I don't like to carry a weapon that in my heart I know it's not functioning the way it was designed, it was supposed to, okay? If I would have taken this weapon apart and that lever would have, flipped its way back up again from the get-go, then I would say it's part of the design. But it worked flawlessly. Now, after putting about 50 to 75 rounds, then and the cleaning and multiple taking the slides off and then getting the slide back on, it just getting caught up. I mean, it jammed up so bad. I thought I was going to have to break the lever in order to get it reassembled again, and so on and so forth. So I moved on. I've got the Glock 27. This is what I say. Smith & Wesson fixes the M&P 9C, okay? And it has a proven track record. I'll be the first person standing in line to purchase it because I think that it's a good weapon, but it can be a great weapon. This is Johnny. Take some time to subscribe. Thanks for watching.